This right here, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly the problem that I was trying to express to Director X when he was on our show. This headline right here is precisely why people just don't care about this stuff anymore. This headline is exactly why people don't take it serious anymore. When you try to make everything about identity politics and that make that the focal point of a TV show, for example, right? Even if it's a studio that's not necessarily doing that, although I don't believe that to be the case here, but even if you wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, maybe you're not playing the identity politics game, but unfortunately the media spin around your show that you're allowing to happen, even though granted, they don't have a lot of control over the media, but they can at least put their own things out there to counter what people are saying about their show, but they never do that because we all know these studios believe every word that these articles ever write. So we have an article here from Refinery 29. It says, we still have a ways to go. Jessye Romeo on why it took so long to get a female Robin Hood. This is written by Karen Donnelly. Now, you guys can already from the headline, you can imagine easily what this article is going to talk about. The thing I was trying to tell Director X during the interview was that this stuff has become so utterly predictable, it's actually very boring. Even though it's a lot of fun to roast TV shows and roast all the woke nonsense, at the end of the day, it is so utterly predictable that you already know what this article is going to talk about before you even read it, simply from the headline and simply from who wrote it. So let's get into this article, guys, from Refinery 29. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm. It says, the classic tale of the legendary outlaw who robs from the rich and gives to the poor. This is incorrect, okay? We talked about this on Saturday Night Hypnosis. If you guys missed that live stream, it should still be live on my channel for a little while longer. Please go check it out, where we go into detail about the lore of Robin Hood. But the classic tale of legendary outlaw who robs from the rich and gives to the poor is a modern interpretation of it. It actually is not based off of that. It has to do with taxes, but they don't want to really get into that. They want to keep their own modern spin on it. But hey, that's just a pet peeve. It says has been adapted over 70 times for movies and TV, and now in 2023 it's finally been reimagined with a woman of color in the titular role. Stan's brand new series Robin Hood stars Pennyworth's Jessye Romeo as Robyn Loxley, a rapper from New Nottingham who, along with her hip-hop band The Hood, fights corruption and inequality in her community. Romeo was initially drawn to the role because she knew it would be a challenge. It was a really exciting role and a chance to flex a lot of different muscles for me. She tells Refinery 29, Australia, I knew this was going to be challenging, but in a good way. It felt like a stretch for my brain and for my body physically, and ultimately it's this timeless story that we can still apply to modern life. Well, here's the thing. Your version of modern life is filled with identity politics, man. This show, as I've said before, and I stand by it, I do believe that it is at the point where they are trying to literally piss on us and convince us that it's raining. They want to tell us that, oh, this person was best for the role, this, that, whatever. Like, oh, she just happened to be made bisexual, happened to be a female, happened to be black, totally not to do with identity politics. All these racial connotations are all accidental, and it's just part of the story. After a while, you have to really realize, dude, this is you're literally pissing on me and trying to convince me that it's raining. And that's what I was trying to say in the debate that we were having. And again, we agreed to disagree, but still, this primary example right here of this article making this TV show about Robin Hood, right? About a black female Robin Hood, they took it upon themselves to turn this into an identity politics spin. But here's the thing. This is also coming from the actress herself. They interviewed Jessye Romeo in this article, and everything that's being said is coming from her mouth. So it's not just Refinery 29 making this about identity politics, it's also the actress who's part of the show that's making it about identity politics. And again, even though Director X is trying to pass the blame off seemingly to the studio and not necessarily wanted to take any blame for why this show is so riddled with identity politics, it's still there, and the actress is proving that it's still there. So it says the series was created by Director X, who is best known for producing music videos for the likes of Drake, Future, and Kendrick Lamar. It was filmed in Toronto and is set in a working class area of a fictional Canadian city called New Nottingham. Before Romeo had even started working with her dialect coach, Director X introduced her to Drake at a dinner party, and he asked the London native to try the Canadian accent. I was like, oh my God, no pressure. I mean, I was already feeling so much pressure, she laughs. Well, I had mentioned that in my review for the TV show as well. I was unaware up until a couple weeks ago that she was actually, while filming this, faking an accent. She has a British accent. So the fact that she was trying to fake the Canadian accent, I feel like that is the reason why she came off as such a terrible actress and just completely emotionless in so many of her scenes. She's trying so hard to pull off this Canadian accent that she just can't be herself. So it kind of gets in the way. When you see her talk regularly in interviews, you'll notice that she's totally different from how she actually acts. And that's kind of a shame. It says, while filming the 8-episode series, Romeo decided to stay in the accent most of the time. I was in the accent all the time, Monday to Friday for sure, for the first 7 weeks. As the process went on, sometimes I'd give myself some days off, she explains, but what my incredible dialect coach Ray Nolan explained to me is that when you're speaking in another accent, you're using different muscles in your face. So when you get used to using one particular accent and then you change it, you kind of get a sore face. Along with the dialect coaching, Romeo went through intense physical training to be able to nail the series' action-packed scene. Now, my thing is, I'm not really a fan of the action-packed scenes in this show, okay? They don't really sell it for me, and I know that X was trying to explain that it's a low-budget TV show, but my thing is, like, I've seen multiple examples of low-budget TV shows that pull off fantastic work. Maybe they're not super, super great, like AAA titles, but they're still fantastic work, and I feel like with this, none of it is sold, you know what I mean? I get it. He did the whole, like, jujitsu move, judo kick, whatever the case may be, with the sheriff on the 200-pound guy, whatever. I don't buy it. It's just not, you didn't sell it enough for me. And maybe that's me personally. But my problem with this TV show is that you have women literally beating up men. The only example that I didn't see of that was when Robyn Loxley lost to Little John. Little John actually beat Robyn Loxley when they were having a little bit of a training session, but later on, Little John gets beat by someone who's smaller than Robyn Loxley, who is seemingly weaker than Robyn Loxley, and he get beats by her. So, like, it doesn't really matter that you made him beat Robyn because that's how it is in the story. It doesn't matter because you had him lose to the sheriff who is smaller than Robyn Loxley. It just didn't make any sense to me, you know? It says it was a combination of stunt training with all our stunt team who are incredible, and I was doing some MMA, I was doing some boxing training, and I was doing Barry's boot camp, which I love just to keep myself in shape. She explains, it was rigorous. I think it's the hardest I've trained in my life. While the tale of Robin Hood has been adapted many times for both the big and small screen, this is the first time a woman of color has been in the lead role, and also the first time the story has been set in a modern-day working-class area, where most of the residents are people of color. Romeo says that the series is a great step forward into bringing more representation to TV, but we still have a lot of work to do, and that is the problem. That is the conversation that we were trying to have and are still having to this day, and the conversation that we're probably going to have for a long time coming. This whole BS about representation matters. You have to see yourself in order to connect with the character. It is from such a narcissistic point of view of life that I just can never understand it. I can never understand that when you're watching entertainment, that if you don't see yourself, suddenly you can't connect with the character. If that was the case, I just don't get how I love anime so much. I just don't understand how I'm able to read so much freaking manga every single day. It would make a lot of people's heads spin. Like, I don't understand it. I don't connect with any of those characters. I don't look like any of those characters, I should say, but I'm able to connect with them. I'm able to actually understand them. I'm able to understand certain aspects of life that they talk about, depending on the manga, depending on the anime. I'm able to understand and connect with it in different ways and see myself in some of these characters and imagine myself, believe it or not, when I was younger as some of these characters. So yeah, I'm able to do that without having to see myself. So you have these people that are such narcissistic people that they have to see themselves physically down to the skin color, because that's really what it is. If it's the skin color, then it matters. If this person was white, then they're going to say they can't see themselves. It doesn't make any sense. Why do you need such an exact representation of you in something that is supposed to be fantasy? That defeats the whole purpose. It is not meant to be reality. This is Robin Hood, right? This is supposed to be a reimagining of the age-old story. So if that's the case, why do you need to see yourself? It's the excuse about needing to see yourself in order to connect with the story that really irks me, right? Like, if you just want to see yourself, okay, you're a little bit of a narcissist, whatever, but don't sell me that bullshit that you can't connect with the character because the character doesn't look like you. That's when I disagree heavily. And then here's the funniest part about this article. So it says, I think it speaks to the times, really, you know, that there is more representation within the film and TV industry, but I believe that we still have a ways to go. She says, sometimes I think we've made real strides, and then things happen and I realize, oh, maybe not. And the epic ultimate own on her face, because clearly she's not really paying attention, it says, you know, all the shtick that Halle Berry was getting for playing the Little Mermaid, and you feel like, oh God, we've gone backwards now. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you were not aware, I don't know if that's a typo from the article or a mess up from the actress, but the fact that they didn't even check it is hilarious. But if you're not aware, Halle Berry actually played Little Mermaid, not Halle Bailey. So, you know, if you guys thought it was Halle Bailey, you are extremely wrong, and it was actually Halle Berry. So again, this is why you cannot take these articles seriously from these shill media websites. You can't take these actresses and actors seriously when they start talking about this representation nonsense. They couldn't even get something as basic as knowing the difference between Halle Bailey and Halle Berry. And this is where we're at. This is where we're at. It's the same stupid story we hear all the time. But of course, we have to report on it because that's what we do. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.